And you're watching WGSR TV, Reidsville, North Carolina. I'm Mark Childry. Glad to have you here. Some of you may be watching over the air. Some of you may be watching through different means, cable TV and others. However you're watching, we certainly appreciate you making us a part of your day, wherever you happen to be. It's time now to catch up with Reidsville Mayor Dr. Donecker and find out what's going on with COVID-19, the coronavirus, in the city of Reidsville, how the city is addressing this and handling it, tackling it, you might say. And we've got his weekly update for you right now. And Doctor, nice to have you here. Glad to have you here, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's good that we're able to discuss this, what we're accomplishing right now and what we should be prepared to start to do once the governor issues a possible change come May 8th.
I know that a lot of people, and you're probably hearing this too, a lot of people heard the news yesterday, the governor's news conference at 5 o'clock, where he said that beginning on Friday, May the 8th, he was going to begin to, I guess you might, for the, not to get too technical, to relax restrictions, some restrictions, to relax some, not all. And I know that a lot of people are concerned about when are they going to get to go back to the barber shop and the beauty shop and the gym and different types of businesses that are closed as of right now. Maybe go inside of a restaurant, have a drink and a meal. Some of those are going to be put off for the time being, but we do know there may be what's called a soft reopening of some businesses starting on Friday. But Rockingham County, as of today, which is Wednesday, May the 6th, we have 34 cases of coronavirus in the county. That's 4 more than we had yesterday. So what's your interpretation of that, and what's your thoughts on that?
Well, testing, there is more testing going on in our county. And so the more we test, the more we'll find that COVID-19 is here. We're not testing at the level that we should, but it's interesting that they've started doing extra testing beginning on Monday, and already we've got 4 more cases.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we're ready for a reopening on Friday? There seems to be a lot of mixed reviews on that. Some people are saying we want to open our businesses, get back to work, get back to a normal routine, but then there are those that are saying, wait a minute, hang on. Remember, this is a pandemic. We need to pull back a little bit. So give us your thoughts on that.
Well, from the scientific point of view, this is premature. And it's premature not necessarily due to just the science of the infection, the virulence. It's premature because we don't have enough testing. I don't know how else to say this. We have hospitals now that have machines that can test thousands of samples at a time, but we don't have the actual testing kits so that we can test people. And what we need to be able to do to kind of relax these social gatherings, or the rules associated with them, is to be able to test enough people so that when they show up for work, enough have been tested that we will identify those that are showing up for work that have the infection but are not having a fever and don't show symptoms. The asymptomatic shedders. Right. And so the vulnerable population in regional Rockingham County, and actually North Carolina, is about 50%. If you add up all the people who are older than 65, and you add up all the people that have underlying asthmatic, heart, kidney conditions, you start coming to the point where about 1 of every 2 people is fitting into that vulnerable population. So we really do need more testing at this point, not to keep our hospitals necessarily from getting overwhelmed, but so that when people start interacting more, because it's springtime, it's summertime, Memorial Day weekend's coming, 4th of July weekend's coming, people are going to want to get out. And we have to accept that people's behavior is going to do that. And so we got to take steps so that we can identify those that are shedding. And also we all need to be wearing masks when we get in among people that we don't know where they're coming from.
Let's talk more about that, and I think we've got some slides that we're going to show too, to sort of accentuate what you're talking about here and some of the ideas that you have on this.
Sure. On the first one, we can see that through Friday, we should only leave for essential purposes. If we go to phase 1, and it's up to the governor to decide that, Then we can leave for some more commercial activity. And also, some of the retail stores can have more people inside while the retail activity is going on. But that's based on the idea that there has to be more cleaning and disinfecting going on at night, and that people are still going to practice social distancing.
Right.
And it's hard for anybody to walk in and say, hey, you all stay 6 feet from me. What everybody can do is wear a mask. And if somebody doesn't want to wear a mask, shame on them. It comes down to those people who believe in the golden rule. Look out for others because you wish they would look out for you. And putting a mask is the first step of that golden rule.
And so so they're going to be able to do that. So starting on Friday, when phase 1 will begin, then that means that things are going to change a little bit, but there's not going to be a dramatic change in what's going on.
Right. Where you will see a dramatic change will be in the big box stores. Because when they do this phase 1 relaxation, that means that Walmart, that currently is allowed to have 1,000 people under the roof at one time, can have 2,500. Now, I don't expect 2,500 people to be there.
Right.
But what it means is there's going to be a lot more people in the roof, under the roof, walking past each other. And this is where, if you go to a big box store, whether it's Lowe's Hardware or Walmart or anything that has that large capacity size of retail activity, you should wear a mask. And if you don't, that is fine. If you don't wear a mask, just realize you're running the risk of either infecting a person who's vulnerable or you yourself becoming infected and you bring it home to somebody in your home population that's vulnerable and they get sick.
And even gatherings indoors and outdoors, you still need to be aware of that. Still, the way this is all, the way I understand it, it is 10 people there, so that's still a small gathering.
That is correct. So if you think about it, we're not allowed to have more than 10 people in one spot. However, you can go to Walmart and you can have 2,500 people at one spot. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's an imbalance here. And just like so many other things in life, nothing's perfect. But it comes back to personal responsibility. So if you're in the vulnerable population, wear a mask. If you're in the vulnerable population, you drive up to Lowe's Hardware to get something and you notice, gosh, there's a lot of cars there, turn around and go home. And go shopping when there's either early hours for the vulnerable population to go, or just come back at another time when there aren't as many people, or order the product online and have it delivered.
Right. And we also see childcare, teleworking, bars and restaurants, barbershops, theaters, music venues, and bowling alleys. You want to run through this list for us here?
Sure. They're the ones that are still going to be closed. So the ones that you're going to have an intimate contact with somebody in the retail business, like a barber, or somebody cutting your hair at a hair salon, or personal massage, or something like that, or going to the theater, those are still closed during phase 1. Because, again, we're trying to loosen up the social interactions, but we don't want to open up the floodgates.
Right.
And remember that when you're in a movie theater, even if you're sitting every other seat, you're really not 6 feet apart, and you're all breathing the same air that's getting recycled through the HVAC unit associated with the theater. But if you're young and you live alone and you don't have any people that are older than 60 or 65 in your intimate group, you have less of a worry than if you are close to anybody that is a vulnerable member of the population, or if you yourself have any underlying medical condition that can be exacerbated by this virus.
Bars and restaurants will also be closed still after Friday, and we encourage everybody, as we do a lot, support your local businesses, because a lot of them are now offering takeout or delivery or both, and so support your local businesses until we finally get to phase 2, right?
That's exactly right. And there will be, you're allowed to have child care centers. Also look after children if you have to go back to work. But please be aware that if you're going back to work and your employer takes your temperature, that is a half-step measure. That will identify anybody that has a fever, and that's a good thing, so that person can be sent home. However, it will not identify a person who is what is called an inapparent shutter. And that person could still infect other people on the shift that you're working. So if you're going to go to work, try to keep your social distance while you're working if possible. Try to ask your employer to provide you with personal protective equipment, face mask, face shield if it's indicated, gloves, anything that can help limit the exposure that you yourself will have with the virus, but also that will limit you shedding the virus if you're an inapparent carrier and don't know it to a fellow employee.
Gotcha. Now we've got another one here with more places. It looks like this is still, well, we've got our restaurants, bars, we've got gyms, playgrounds, and different ones on here. Run through this list for us, Mayor.
About the gyms, that they're still closed, and the playgrounds. I have to point out that our playgrounds are open. It's the playground equipment that's still closed.
Right.
Bars and restaurants, takeout and delivery still going on. We don't want anybody to visit the long-term care centers because, think about it, the three areas where we're going to have problems with the virus if we're not careful are nursing homes, our county jail, and our high employee shift manufacturers, such as our Ruger manufacturing facility out in the west of the county, Unify here in Reidsville, Bardo Meats here in Reidsville, ones in which you have a lot of people working in one spot at one time that are maybe sharing a lunchroom. There are a number of things that have to be done to kind of still try to keep people separated. And then, of course, I've had a number of questions about worship services. Can you have outdoor services? You can, but again, social spacing. If you can be in the car with the windows up and you listen that way, that's one way you can do it, or you space the cars out. These are all things that one can do just to keep the social spacing. Always remembering that if you're all from the same household, you all can be close together.
Right. And then we see the state parks and trails. I think there's going to be some, I think on Friday, the governor is going to try to get those open again. He was encouraging those to be opened, I think is the way he put it, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's true. But see, our Lake Reidsville, Lake Hunt, we're open. We want people, and our trails are open. They're open right now. We want people to get outside and walk. What we don't want is for them to covey up and get too close to each other. So we've got a number of trails to walk. Lake Reidsville's got a number of trails, Lake Hunt. We've got some over by the high school. Please get out and walk. We want people to get out and about.
And we just talked about that the other day, that Lake Hunt was beautiful. It's a beautiful lake, and so there's a lot of different things you can do over there, and there's only a small charge if you want to get out actually on the lake. So what a great place to go out and do some things.
That's exactly right. Thursday through Sunday, it's open for anybody. All the people who have paid an annual fee to be able to go there on time during the week, they have access for the key.
Right.
But anybody else can get there from Thursday to Sunday.
All right. And do we have one more, Jonathan? I believe we do. Okay.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, we do.
It's about the 3 W's. And the 3 W's is all about personal responsibility. These are things that everybody can do. So when you have somebody complain that, oh, so-and-so's not doing this and so-and-so's not doing that, and why doesn't the government do this or that, it comes down to the 3 W's. Wear a face mask. Wait 6 feet apart from other people if you're in line. And wash your hands often and as much as possible using a hand sanitizer. And that starts with good old soap and water. You don't always have to get the Purell or any of the other commercial ones that come in the bottles. Just washing your hands with good old soap on a frequent basis will help a lot.
Great tips, Mayor. We certainly do appreciate this. If someone has questions about this, there's a lot of information online, but I know Reidsville City Hall is closed to the public, but still there's people working there every day. If someone has a question, they can still call City Hall to get those questions answered, right?
That's exactly right. 349-1030, same area code that we're all in, 336, we'll get you to our City Hall. and Cindy Ferris will answer that and direct your call to where it needs to go.
All right.
That is correct, though, that City Hall is closed, just like our fire stations and our police station is.
Reidsville Mayor Dr. Jay Donecker making his weekly appearance with us here to discuss what's going on. Mayor, we'll have more information, I guess, once we get past Friday, and once we enter phase one, we'll have new information to talk about next Wednesday. So we encourage all of our viewers to tune in and watch then. Mayor, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Stay safe out there.
Yes, and you too, and thank you for allowing me to go through the next phase that it looks like the governor is going to approve on Friday at 5 o'clock.
Absolutely. We'll get an update from you and see how it goes. And so we'll talk to you next week. Mayor, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mark. Thank you.
Reidsville Mayor Dr. Jay Donecker bringing us his weekly update here on WGSR TV, Reidsville, North Carolina. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.